Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card that we are coming out with today, we like seeing this card. We've got our 9 of Pentacles on the table, which is beautiful in combination with that lovely 10 of Cups that we received today for our card of the day. So more than anything right now, there is an orientation in working towards your own peace, particularly as it relates to your own immediate environment. So a lot of concentration right now going to be focused on that material environment and how to come into the place of deepest easement. This is also good because what we're really seeing also happening here is a manifestation working towards those long-term goals, those higher manifestations that you're working on at this time, but with a focus and an orientation on the immediate energy around you of fitting and accommodating those long-term plans and those long-term goals. The second card that we have coming through right now in our 5-card spread is, we have coming through here, we love seeing this card and it's upright as well. We have here our Queen of Cups. So one of the things that we have been identifying that has been happening, particularly with the feminine energy recently, we've been seeing this happening with the cards of the day, is that the feminine energy has been working on a point of easement, coming into a point of easement right now, but it is taking some need to recalibrate. This recalibration point has been requiring the feminine to pull out of their emotional center to a certain extent. We saw that in cards like the Queen of Wands that we received in combination with the Star energy. These are very activating cards for the feminine energy, but they do require, to a certain extent, for the feminine energy to pull out of their emotional center, which is what we recognized with that Empress that we saw yesterday in its reversal. One of the things that we appreciate today for the feminine energy is there's something about the feminine energy grounding right now in their material comfort, in their material space, that is helping the feminine come back into alignment with their emotional center. So this could be a moment marked with more receptivity right now for the feminine as you proceed forward from this point. While for masculine energy, what we're really identifying at this point is this is a moment that you yourselves are also concentrating on your immediate environment, working to manifest those long-term goals that you are setting for yourself and those around you at this time, with an orientation towards a manifestation of feminine, whom you're either actively working on right now through some emotional issues, working on creating that sense of emotional balance for the feminine to come into this point of easement, a point of continuation that we saw yesterday coming through in our daily collective read as well. While for the other part of the masculine energy right now, this could be working on building your own environment, creating a sense of comfort to manifest or bring in this feminine energy that you may have a lot of concentration towards right now. Now, the center card for today's spread is, this is that 8 of Cups in its reversal. So we've been seeing this card coming up a bit as well. One of the issues right now that is currently happening for the feminine energy is while the feminine energy is working right now on coming into a point of emotional balance, this is a moment right now of objectivity that the feminine is really facing as it relates to your own emotional center. So for feminine right now, what we're really seeing is a lot of analysis right now on what you're feeling and how you're feeling, with a concentration on your own immediate environment, what feels comfortable for you. But some of the resistance and some of the blockage that currently could be happening right now around the feminine energy is some difficulty in walking away or moving away from anything that you feel is effectively blocking you at this time. This is why we see the feminine energy having had to pull away from their emotional center in the first place. We saw that the feminine energy was trying to work through and overcome any of these challenges and hurdles. And this is a moment that the feminine is now gravitating and coming back into their center and allowing themselves an openness around their own emotionality to identify anything they feel is blocking them, that is preventing them from moving forward in the way that they feel we would ideally desire. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are working right now on your own immediate environment, again, with a lot of focus on those long-term goals that you are setting for yourself at this time. This is also that recalibration point that we have been seeing in the cards over the last few days. Again, either working in conjunction with feminine energy right now, Feeling this emotional receptivity, working through any emotional difficulties with the feminine energy that you recognize has that degree and level of emotional balance to allow you to move forward from this at this point. Or working to manifest this energy towards you at this time. But we see here that the same blockage is coming through right now for the masculine energy in feeling like there are some difficulties and hurdles that are proving difficult to move away from right now. This could be working a lot right now with the feminine energy to try to identify and overcome these hurdles, or actively trying to remove these hurdles for yourself at this moment to create a deeper sense of easement for a feminine that you're trying to manifest towards right now. This is proving a bit of a challenge, and I'm sure a lot of the cards that we're going to receive today are going to give us more indication as to what this blockage is. Now, the fourth card that we have coming through today in our 5-card spread is High Priestess in its reversal. So this makes a lot of sense. So what happens when the feminine energy comes into their own emotional center? This is some of the difficulty that we're experiencing, because while the feminine energy starts to feel their emotionality, you start to allow yourself to feel these emotions that you're feeling. You feel that they are in complete opposite disorientation point to your higher logical center. This is that blockage point for the feminine. This is the blockage between the head and the heart space that the feminine energy is working to overcome at this point. Because while the feminine discovers a point where you identify that when you start to ground and you allow yourself to feel your emotions right now, you are feeling somewhat of an emotional blockage, because you are fearing that when you allow yourself to feel your emotional center to this degree, that in some way, shape, or capacity, it effectively blocks your own ability to look at things from a logical, intuitive center. This is that overcoming the hurdle that we're seeing for feminine right now is an internal one, between what they are feeling and potentially what they think that they need to move towards in a logic space right now. This is that conflict point for the feminine, but we see that the feminine is trying to ground themselves at this moment, building a space of comfort so that the feminine energy can do this work right now to identify the hurdles that they're experiencing, to find the path forward, how to balance the head and the heart space, the emotional center. How to maintain the emotional center without losing your own logical-based thinking or your intuitive-based approaches at this time. While for masculine energy right now, this is something that you are potentially working through right now. This could even represent more than one manifestation of feminine right now around the masculine energy. For some of the masculine energy right now, you are also working right now in conjunction with a feminine energy that is going through some difficulties based on what they feel versus what they want to do or how they want to move. Creating this space to help the feminine energy come into a state of comfort as they wrestle with this difficulty within them right now, and trying to aid and assist in some way with the feminine energy that is having some difficulty taking logical steps at this moment as they work through their own emotionality. While for the other half of the masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are experiencing some sort of hurdle or blockage, potentially without being in connection with the feminine energy, but feeling either a singular manifestation of feminine energy that you feel this emotional connection to, but not being able to find a more spiritual connection with them, having some of this difficulty right now in terms of having this energy connect with you in this way, of finding that path forward with this energy, but still creating a lot of space for the emotionality that is attached to this feminine energy as you proceed forward. And this is what's creating some of this blockage, feeling like there may be something around this feminine energy that is potentially pulling away from you or not allowing this ability to logically move forward with them to come forward at this point. This is some of that blockage. For the other masculine energy right now, this could be feeling like you are working through a point where you are getting some feminine emotional support around some situations or circumstances that you're feeling with another separate feminine energy that you feel some sort of blockage with, that you feel that is inaccessible to you on this connection point. And that is some of the difficulty that you are potentially moving through at this time. Continuing to get clarification, the fifth card in our 5-card spread, before we start getting clarification on these cards, We have coming here, this card does not want to stay in the deck over the last few days. The Page of Cups. What is happening right now with the feminine energy as it relates to the masculine energy? Well, we've been seeing the feminine energy, seeing the masculine energy at this point over the last few days. The feminine energy right now is in a place where they're feeling somewhat emotionally disconnected. The feminine energy is working to build back and come into a space where they feel safe and able to express their own emotionality at this time. But again, this is feeling like a point of difficulty because even with the feminine energy that is in union right now with masculine energy, there is a feeling that this is a lot easier, what they're going through right now for the masculine energy rather than the feminine. Because while we see that there's a lot of conflicted energy here for the feminine, the masculine is moving through this with a much more lighthearted approach, almost trying to lend some of this lightheartedness to the feminine energy as they're going through some of this difficulty or this challenge, trying to raise their spirits, if you will, as they're going through any of this blockage point that they're both mutually experiencing. Well, for the other half of the feminine collective right now, if you're not necessarily in union with this energy, this is that point of blockage. This is that feeling of looking at the masculine energy and having a lot of questioning on their intentionality as you proceed forward from this point, because you're recognizing here an anxiety that the masculine energy around you isn't necessarily taking things to the deepest consideration point that you yourself potentially are, that you, the feminine energy, is working right now not on the immediate pleasure or the worldly things, but they're really keeping their orientation focused on that long-term path, on that long-term goal. And this is some of that uncertainty that you're feeling as it relates to some of that masculine energy around you, questioning if their own intentions are aligned with yours in terms of those long-term paths or those long-term goals, or if the masculine energy is kind of just moving at a point of easement, at what feels comfortable and accessible and easy for them and delightful, as opposed to thinking about these with the same critical emotionality and the same logic-based approach as the feminine energy is currently experiencing at this time. For the masculine energy right now, again, if you're working in union, this is a moment that you are currently experiencing where you are recognizing that the feminine energy is going through some point of difficulty right now, that they are feeling somewhat conflicted as it relates to how to move forward in some degree or possibility right now. You are trying to lend some potential support because you are recognizing that you are also feeling a bit of this blockage with the feminine energy not necessarily being in perfect alignment with you at this time, but you are doing everything you can to create a point of easement, to create a point of support, to try to keep things in a higher, more lighthearted vibration, even as you're going through any of these hurdles and challenges with the feminine energy at this time. Well, for the masculine energy that is not necessarily in union right now, this could be feeling a point of conflict that you're experiencing around some feminine energy, that you may be experiencing some degree of blockage here because there is a bit of a difference in terms of your approach that you're recognizing right now with the severity or the depth that the feminine energy is currently trying to explore as it relates to their own emotionality and communicating that emotionality and feeling some conflicts around that energy, if this is a singular energy, as to how to move forward right now. And you yourself are kind of just allowing yourself, I'm going to say this, it's almost like the masculine energy is just letting themselves vibe through any of this. If you're not necessarily in union, you're just almost pulling your own energy back and just concentrating on your own pleasure, moving in a space of, again, trying to find that point of enjoyment right now, even as you're going through some of these conflicted energies with feminine that you recognize is moving a little bit deeper into things right now than you yourself are feeling, that you're trying ineffectively, potentially trying to keep things more casual, more carefree, but you're working with a feminine that is in a space or place where they're taking things to a much deeper degree of seriousness at this moment. And this is potentially creating a bit of a hurdle. For the other part of the masculine energy, this could even identify more than one feminine energy around you right now. And while some are very receptive and open, there are some that you're experiencing some hurdle or blockage with. But again, you are still taking this kind of lighthearted, carefree approach at this time, even as you try to work through some of the blockages that you're seeing in this feminine energy. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Nine of Pentacles in combination with our Queen of Cups energy. So for feminine, this is a moment of really grounding, orienting again on your own emotions, really analyzing your own emotional center, putting a lot of care and intention into what you're feeling, and also working a lot to manifest an environment around you that's going to feel comfortable for you to be able to do this work right now. Bearing in mind that there's a connection point right now for the feminine energy and their own feelings of immediate material, environmental comfort that's helping you do this work right now. This is giving a lot of vibrations of feminine working to find like a point of meditation, a point of coming into a space where they feel that they can have some room to think and to consider their own emotionality. While for masculine energy right now, this is potentially putting a lot of care and attention into your own immediate space right now, either working right now to manifest this feminine energy that is in balance with their own emotional center as you concentrate on this for yourself at this time, or working in collaboration right now with the feminine energy that is giving you this ability to see that they have this ability and degree of emotional balance, a feminine energy providing this to the masculine right now, and the masculine energy offering this degree or level of support at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Woo! Popping out of the deck. The Lovers. We love to see this card in combination with this. So what is the feminine energy doing right now in terms of their own assessment of their own emotional center? Feminine energy is putting a lot of concentration right now in the positive, supportive partnerships that are going to create this space for them right now, recognizing that being able to be in an environment and space where you can balance your own emotionality and also find a point of comfort is integral to building the partnerships that are going to lead you on the highest divine union path going forward. Doesn't necessarily need to be romantic. This could be in relation to any higher partnership union that you are experiencing right now. But more than anything right now, a lot of this pause, a lot of this concentration on the self right now in the immediate environment is to help the feminine energy come into better emotional alignment to either manifest this type of perfect union energy, this perfect partnership energy into focus right now for yourselves as you proceed forward from this point. Or for the other part of the feminine energy right now, this is experiencing actively a divine union that is creating this space for you where you feel you can have a point of comfort and also be able to really assess and look at and communicate your emotionality at this point. While for masculine energy right now, what we're really identifying and experiencing is there is a moment that you yourself are also working right now on your own immediate environment. If you're not necessarily in union right now, this is a moment that you're putting potentially a lot of care and energy into your immediate environment right now, with a focus on manifesting a balanced emotional feminine energy that is going to be able to collaborate with you at this time, and recognizing that this is something that this concentration on your own environment right now is going to help we're experiencing. I want to make sure that we're getting out of the quagmire of the lag that we're experiencing. So please pause just a moment and I'll continue. Am I back on? Can I get a confirmation if you guys can hear me and see me? Okay. All right, great. Apologies for that. So as I was saying, just going to back up a moment. Just going to back up a moment. So as I said, there is an orientation for feminine energy, a concentration on creating a point of easement for yourself right now, analyzing your own emotional center to build towards better unions right now. Again, either working in a collaboration with a masculine that is providing this space right now, or putting a lot of care and attention in your own space right now as you work to manifest this towards you right now and come into a space of emotional center for yourself at this moment. While for masculine, this is that same care and degree on your own immediate space right now, either working to build that space in a way that is going to feel supported for the feminine energy right now to build a better partnership, or for the other part of the masculine collective right now, really putting a lot of care and attention into what you're trying to manifest at this moment and building out your own immediate environment with that goal of manifesting this lover's energy going forward from this point. Now, continuing to get clarification right now on our our Nine of Pentacles energy in combination with, these were reversed. Our Queen of Cups energy in combination with our Eight of Cups in its reversal. So again, for feminine energy right now, a lot of this work being paid towards a concentration on your own emotionality. And for feminine energy, this is going to feel like a bit of a challenge today, because what we really are seeing is there's something around the feminine energy right now that you are looking a lot at your own emotionality as it relates to any situations or circumstances that are creating some blockages in you in terms of really connecting with that emotional energy. The feminine energy has been disconnected from their emotional center over the last few days. Feminine is taking a lot of time right now to themselves to really assess and overcome any of these emotional hurdles that they're currently experiencing. While for masculine energy right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment that you yourself are looking at any sort of blockages that you're currently experiencing. You are feeling a difficulty that needs to be overcome around these blockages. You're either working right now in collaboration with a balanced feminine energy that is offering your emotionality at this time, that are conveying their emotions at this time to help overcome these hurdles with this feminine energy. Or for the other part of the masculine collective right now, this could be feeling like you are having a point that it is hard to move away from a feminine energy that you feel this emotional connection to, but you are also experiencing some blockage in order to actually be able to connect with them at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Swords. There is a need for rest. There is a need for pause here for both masculine and feminine energy. For feminine energy, this is a moment of taking some time for yourself at this moment. There is something here that is requiring a bit of self-care for the feminine energy, because there is something that is latent, that is dormant. Feminine is trying to get to the bottom of it in their emotional center right now. It's creating this blockage. It's making it hard for the feminine energy to connect with their emotional side right now. This is giving this space of potentially even coming through to a certain degree right now around the feminine energy as a point of exhaustion, if you will. Feeling some sense of exhaustion, feeling like this is something that is very difficult for the feminine energy to work through right now. It's creating a lot of challenges. It's one of these things. It's almost like creating a knot for the feminine energy, that they're having an emotional hurdle that they cannot necessarily move away from right now, because it's almost like they're experiencing the blockage. It just makes you tired as you consider it. But we do see the fact that feminine is putting a lot of care and tension into this right now to work through this emotional hurdle as you proceed forward from this point. This could be requiring a bit of dormancy today for the feminine energy, coming into a space of rest, coming into a renewed commitment to some self-care at this moment. Potentially even needing to put some burdens down right now that are becoming too heavy to carry is what we're effectively seeing, because feminine is reaching almost an exhaustion point in trying to overcome some of this hurdle. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are feeling the same difficulty around the feminine energy, that there is something right now that is being experienced as a blockage or a hurdle with an emotionally balanced feminine energy. And while this feminine energy is in a space where they are emotionally connecting to you at this time, that you are feeling this emotional connection, it is something that is very difficult to work through. So there is this return right now to allowing, either working right now to give the feminine energy some opportunity or a chance to rest as they go through some of this emotional difficulty that they are experiencing. Or for the other half of the masculine collective, this is you yourself feeling some of this exhaustion point, because you're feeling a blockage in being able to come into connection with the feminine energy that you feel this emotional connection with, but that you feel in some way or degree that you are effectively blocked in proceeding forward with at this time. And this is also creating a space or a need for rest at this moment. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Eight of Cups in its reversal, in combination with our High Priestess in its reversal. So a moment right now for both masculine and feminine, it will feel a bit different. For feminine energy right now, this is that blockage point between the head and the heart space right now. Feminine energy is having a difficult time navigating their own emotionality versus their own logic-based center right now. There is a stuck point between these two in getting into alignment in terms of what a feminine energy is currently feeling versus what they feel they should move into right now, what direction they should take for themselves at this time. And this is where we see some of that feminine blockage coming through right now. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are working through a blockage right now around the feminine energy. And again, for the masculine energy right now, this is either coming through right now as a singular feminine energy that you recognize is having this point of disorientation, being uncertain how they can proceed at this moment. You are lending support and you are working with this feminine energy to help them through some of this challenge and hurdle at this time. For the other half of the masculine collective right now, this is a moment that you are potentially feeling a blockage, and this could actually be for some of the masculine energy right now, a blockage between more than one feminine energy in terms of your own inability or uncertainty as it relates to which direction that you want to go into at this point. Whether you're going to move towards one energy or the other, this uncertainty point may be feeling like where the blockage is coming from. While for the other masculine energy right now, this could be you potentially getting support from someone as you try to overcome a hurdle towards the feminine energy. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we like to see this card and it's upright, the Empress energy. For masculine energy right now, this is what's allowing for you to be able to move forward in this point, because while you may be experiencing, and this is going to feel a little bit different depending on where you fall on the masculine collective at this moment. For some of the masculine collective right now, there is this moment that you are feeling a bit of a blockage with the feminine energy, because while you feel that they are your heart's desire, while you feel this loving expression from this feminine energy, you feel that emotional connection point, you do recognize that there's something around this feminine energy that is unsure how to proceed forward at this time. This is what is creating some of the blockage right now, because you're feeling the connection point, but there is some anxiety as it relates to what the path moving forward looks like and how to overcome any immediate blockages that you're feeling with this energy at this time. While for the other half of the masculine collective right now, this could be feeling that you are potentially trapped between different feminine energies and you are uncertain which direction to proceed upon at this moment. Because while we see that there is some energy here that is in its Empress energy that you're feeling this deeper emotional connection with, you do feel that there is a blockage with some feminine energy that you have this higher spiritual connection with at this time. So this could be feeling very frustrating for some of the masculine energy at this point. While for feminine energy right now, this is literally the articulation between the difficulty in the head and the heart space that we initially identified when I brought up the blockage. This is exactly the same reading that we're seeing here with this card, just in a different form. It's taking a much more tangible degree right now, because this is that moment where the feminine's head and heart space are not necessarily acting or working in accordance with themselves at this time. It is creating a blockage in the emotional center of the feminine right now, between what the feminine wants to logically move towards right now versus where their own heart is pulling them at this time. Feminine has been struggling with this for days, and we're seeing this coming into play here with this Eight of Cups in its reversal. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our High Priestess energy in its reversal in combination with our Page of Cups energy. So again, this is some of the blockage that the feminine is also experiencing at this time, because even for the feminine energy that is in union right now, you are feeling a bit of disparity right now as to where your alignment is versus the energy that's around you at this moment. Because while you yourself are feeling like you are having a difficulty through your own spiritual center, through finding that higher logic-based approach, while you experience some degree of emotionality at this time, you are feeling the masculine energy is trying to lend support to you to some degree and to some effort. But the masculine energy is in a much more playful mood than the feminine energy is at this time. The masculine energy is trying to uplift the feminine spirits, but it could be feeling like a bit of a conflict point, because the feminine energy is literally feeling like they're dealing with something that feels a lot more emotionally heavy right now, versus a masculine energy who's trying to create a point of easement, to try to create a point of delight, almost to like pull the feminine energy out of some of this like heavier thought that they're moving into right now, to help them get into like a more optimistic outlook as you're going through some of these immediate struggles between the head and the heart space. While for the other part of the feminine energy right now, if you're not necessarily in union, this is again some of that judgment energy that we saw coming into play yesterday with the masculine energy as it relates to their approach, because feminine energy is feeling a point of conflict or confusion right now as it relates to how to move forward, putting a lot of attention right now towards the masculine energy and asking if they're showing that same degree and intentionality as it relates to the long-term path and the long-term goal, or is the masculine energy just kind of moving about right now, fulfilling their own immediate sense of delight and enjoyment and earthly desires. This is creating a bit of a conflict point and an uncertainty point with the feminine energy not in union right now. While for masculine energy right now, this is going to feel either like, again, you are working right now with the feminine energy that is in a point of internal conflict. That feminine energy is feeling some difficulties as it relates to maintaining a logic-based approach in the midst of some of the emotionality that they're currently experiencing. You are doing a lot of work right now to try to lift this feminine energy spirits, coming from a much more lighthearted, playful way, all to a way to try to lend this energy some support as they are experiencing this from the outside. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now, this could be feeling like, again, there is some orientation or concentration right now towards a feminine energy that you feel has this higher spiritual alignment. You have this logic-based approach, but there's something about this feminine energy right now that could potentially feel inaccessible to you. And this is a moment that you are kind of just trying to get yourself back into modality by focusing on your own self, on your own pleasure at this time, even as a lot of your orientation and thoughts are around some of this energy that you don't necessarily feel that you are in a good connection with. A little warning to masculine to make sure that you're not overindulging right now, because sometimes when we see that card, that could be meaning that. Can I please get one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Pentacles. This will feel different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For feminine energy right now, this is strictly coming through as a moment of withholding. This is you effectively holding back on something right now, holding your own choices back right now. You are reserved right now. The feminine energy is working right now on a lot of internal issues. And as it relates to that, they're doing a bit more withholding today as they try to navigate how they're necessarily feeling. For the feminine energy that is in union right now, this is you potentially going very much inwards right now, recognizing that the masculine energy may not necessarily be in the same vibe as you are right now as you try to go through some of these internal issues or struggling points that you're currently experiencing. For the feminine energy that is not necessarily in union, this is you feeling some point of trepidation around the masculine energy that is around you at this time, putting a lot of care and concentration in truly asking yourself, is this masculine energy built upon the same manifestations and goals that I'm working on right now, or are they concentrating on their own pleasure and immediate sense of gratification at this moment? And this is where we're seeing that blockage also coming through right now as feminine pulls back a bit on their own energy today. While for masculine energy right now, what we're really recognizing is, again, masculine energy is trying to take a much more lighthearted, carefree approach to some of the circumstances and situations that we see are currently happening here. Masculine energy is trying to move into a space of playfulness, of enjoyment, of delight. Again, either working in union right now with the feminine energy that is feeling some point of conflict, but bringing this bit of lighthearted energy into the fold right now to help raise this feminine energy sense of optimism at this moment. But even this, to a certain extent, is requiring or feeling like the masculine energy is holding back to a degree. There's something here where the masculine energy themselves are potentially holding back to a degree, recognizing that maybe the feminine energy isn't available to deal with more of these practical situations and circumstances at this moment, which is why the masculine energy is taking a lot of the lion's share of this on themselves right now with the energy that's in union as they try to keep the feminine energy spirits bright and uplifting at this time. While for the masculine energy that is not in union at this time, this is a moment where you feel that this feminine energy isn't necessarily receptive or open to you at this time. You are experiencing this as a tangible blockage. You're trying to distract yourself from this right now by focusing on those situations and circumstances in your immediate environment that allow you the sense of carefree delight at this moment. But truly, it is because you're doing a lot of emotional withholding here. You recognize that there's some part of you that needs to hold back right now because you can't give forth to this energy in the way and capacity or degree that you would ideally desire at this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our Lovers card in combination with our Four of Swords. So for masculine and feminine energy, this could be feeling like a bit of a struggle point today, because what we are seeing is, while there is a lot of orientation right now on healthy, healed partnerships, on working to create these healthy, healed partnerships at this moment in any capacity, doesn't necessarily need to be romantic. It certainly can be. But also recognizing that there's something around these partnerships right now that require or need some bit of rest. There's something here that is latent that needs some point of dormancy right now to be able to build towards this better aligned partnership moving forward, trying to create these spaces of places of rest, all for the effort of building towards a longer term divine connection. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our King of Pentacles in its upright. We like seeing this right now. This is going to feel a bit different for masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For feminine energy right now, again, there is a lot of concentration that is being paid right now on what is creating a sense of stability for you at this time. For feminine energy, that sense of stability is something that you're working to create for yourself at this moment right now. Again, if you are in union right now, feminine energy is getting and receiving some degree of an ability to have a point of rest, a point of easement, with the support of a masculine energy that is providing this sense of stability for them at this time as they go through some of these internal struggles that they're currently experiencing right now. While for the feminine energy that is not in union right now, this is really identifying feminine energy, being willing to take the time to use rest points as their point of recognition between the partnership energy that they feel has this possibility of long-term growth and higher divine potential, recognizing that the masculine energy that they are trying to bring in towards them at this time will provide them this sense of stability, will create this space for them that they potentially require so that they can feel safe and supported as they proceed forward towards those energies. Feminine energy is utilizing this point of rest to help articulate and identify those masculine energies that are truly supportive versus the ones that are moving towards them more towards their own immediate self-interest and gratification. Feminine energy, like we said yesterday, is using time to help identify and articulate the energy that's truly going to be able to maintain the patience necessary that they identify is required for those higher aligned partnerships. While for masculine energy right now, this is going to feel like one of two different things. For masculine energy right now that is currently working in union, this is a moment that you are potentially, again, putting a lot of concentration in creating a stable environment for yourself and the energy around you at this time. Recognizing that there is this point of relaxation and easement that is required potentially around some of your partnerships to help create supportive environments as you proceed forward from this time. You are able to provide this degree of stability. You're able to provide this point of easement, and that's what's allowing these energies to come into better union. While for the other part of the masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you may be taking this degree of rest for yourself at this moment, trying to come back into a state of feeling more stable at this time with a concentration and orientation towards aligned partnerships that allow you this degree of stability and rest as you proceed forward from this. For both masculine and feminine right now, being able to have some point of rest is key. For masculine energy, this point of rest might speak more to a point of rest that where you can find some sense of delight or enjoyment at this time. That's where some of that energy may be coming from right now. You may be trying to create an environment where that is going to be possible. While for feminine, this is potentially requiring and needing to see and identify this ability for you to have this point of rest, to articulate upon whether you feel the masculine energy around you at this time is as stable and supportive as you would ideally desire right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our Four of Swords in combination with our Empress energy. The Empress, the Queen, needs some rest. The Empress needs some rest. The feminine energy, which was in its reversal yesterday, I will point out, I think that this is very amusing, so we need to go through this for a minute. The feminine energy has not been in their emotional center. The feminine energy has been blocking off their emotional center as they move through some things right now. They had to kind of block them off. Feminine energy is coming back into their emotional center right now. And the first thing that the feminine energy comes into when they come into their emotional center is saying to themselves, sis, I am emotionally tired. I am emotionally tired. The feminine energy is allowing this degree of rest so that they can come back into their emotional center. It's like the emotionality is back and feminine's already tired of it as soon as it comes back into play, because it's creating an internal conflict. It's creating an internal conflict. While for masculine energy right now, this is again either working right now in union with the feminine energy that you feel is available and providing this degree of emotional connection to you, but also recognizing that there is this point of dormancy and rest that this feminine energy either requires at this moment or providing this in some degree. So the feminine energy has this capacity to work through these things at this moment. While for the masculine energy right now that is not in union, there could be a feeling right now of, again, trying to move towards a feminine energy that is your heart's desire at this time, but feeling like in some way this energy is blocked off from you. And recognizing that there might be some time and some space that is required to give this energy in order for them to be able to open up to you to the degree that you or capacity that you would ideally desire at this point. So for both energies right now, rest being key to being able to unlock some emotional center in the feminine energy right now. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with the Three of Wands. So for both masculine and feminine energy right now, today is a day that isn't necessarily super active as it relates to emotionality and the heart center. Feminine energy needs some point of rest right now. Feminine energy needs a bit of easement. For masculine energy is potentially also requiring a point of easement, because if they're not in connection right now, if the masculine energy is not in connection with the feminine right now, what we're really identifying is you're feeling so frustrated about the blockage that you're just giving some space and you're trying to create that clear path going forward to see what you can do in the long term around this energy right now. While for the masculine energy right now that it is in union with this energy, you are allowing them this room of easement. You are allowing them this room of rest while keeping your focus on those longer term plans that you're setting for both of your energies as you proceed forward from this point. While for the feminine energy right now, this is a moment that is coming into your own emotional center. You are creating a space right now to allow yourself some degree of easement as you decide how to proceed forward from this point. This is going to feel like a bit more of a rest day for the feminine, but also one that may be spent with a lot of focus on the plans going forward. This rest period that we're seeing for the feminine right now is really coming to the center right now, specifically so that the feminine can get a clearer head as to how and what they want in terms of that long-term growth potential here. Feminine is creating this space for themselves or requiring it at this moment, because for feminine, as we saw, for those that are in union, you are taking some rest period right now to help orient yourself as you proceed forward from this point. While for the feminine energy that isn't in union, you are letting, as I said, you are letting these points of easement this point of patience, really give you the clarity as to whether there is a path forward with some of the masculine energy that is around you right now. For feminine energy right now, there's something about the masculine energy where patience, or a degree of patience through their own challenges, is key right now to help identify with the feminine energy. If the masculine energy is potentially just serving their own immediate needs and wants and desires at this moment, or if they're coming through as stable, as grounded, as patient, as supportive. This is all the clarification feminine is seeking at this time to help orient themselves as they proceed through any of their own immediate hurdles. Continuing to get clarification right now between our Empress energy in combination with the Four of Pentacles. So for feminine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are coming back into your emotional center. You are allowing those emotionalities to come into play. But even as you're experiencing it, this is some of that latent Four of Swords energy that we're seeing. A part of you is holding a bit of yourself back at this time. Feminine energy is coming into a space of feeling some of this heart center at this moment, but at the same time, they're withholding to a certain degree. This is more of an internal opening that they're experiencing right now. Asking about, again, feeling this emotional opening happening, but also holding back with a bit of caution right now as it relates to whether it is feeling safe and vulnerable, and like they're feeling vulnerable enough in order to do so, because something about this right now, doing this action right now for the feminine, is making them feel extremely vulnerable as you proceed forward from this point. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are potentially experiencing. Again, if you are working right now in union with feminine energy, you are recognizing the fact that this energy is emotionally available and open to you right now. But there's something here about your own degree or need to pull back to a certain extent right now to give this feminine energy the space that they need to come back into a point of coming into alignment with their head and their heart space. While for the other part of the masculine energy, and that's requiring you to pull your own energy back from them, potentially with a focus on your own sense of enjoyment at this moment as you choose to do so. While for the other part of the masculine energy right now, this is feeling some of that anxiety potentially around coming towards a manifestation of feminine. Because while you may be feeling to a certain degree a connection with this feminine, you yourself are recognizing that this feminine is holding back towards you to a certain degree. And that is requiring you to hold back in kind. Because what we're really seeing here is you're trying to get this feminine energy into a space where they can feel comfortable again. And you're doing this work right now. Some of you, you're just pulling back your energy and just focusing on your own sense of enjoyment and gratification at this moment in order to do so. For others, the masculine energy is doing so with a lot of intentionality, trying to build that supportive environment for feminine at this time to allow them this room and space to grow. May I please get one card to clarify? Doesn't want to come out of the deck. Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Wands in its reversal. This is that correction point in terms of the short-term paths and the short-term goals. There's something here that we keep seeing coming up about the blockage point in terms of those short-term paths and those short-term goals. For feminine energy, some of the reason that you're effectively withholding right now is based on some anxieties in being able to see what that point of success is, what that is going to look like ultimately, feeling like some plans are not necessarily laid out clearly enough, feeling some point of disorientation as to what that short-term future plan offers. This is what's creating that point of anxiety right now for the feminine. Feminine might be very open right now to emotionally expressing some of their anxieties today as it relates to this blockage, because feminine energy is opening up their emotional center today to try to articulate some of these blockages around their anxieties about the short-term future goals and plans. This is feminine energy coming into their emotional alignment, but it's almost like the things that they're coming into emotional alignment towards are very difficult, which is why we see that need for rest coming through. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you, again, are either working in collaboration with a feminine energy. that you are feeling this open, this receptivity to. You're emotionally connecting with this energy, and they are similarly, you're working through with them right now, their own inhibitions, their own anxieties as it relates to those short-term paths and short-term goals and what you're building towards at this time. Well, for the other half of the masculine collective right now, this is feeling a point of deep anxiety because, again, we are seeing that there is an object of your desire right now that you would ideally desire to go towards at this moment, but you are effectively feeling somewhat blocked, that you don't necessarily have the plans in place to be able to move towards this energy, and you are limited limited and unable to provide that a supportive environment for this energy, even as you are experiencing a connection to it that is creating some of this blockage that you're currently trying to work through right now. This is masculine energy feeling a lot of these same doubts and fears around this feminine energy for those that are potentially in union. And this is that point of anxiety that is potentially leading the masculine energy to move into a space of their own personal enjoyment and also building that stability for themselves at this time. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between King of Pentacles energy in combination with our Three of Wands. So this is that recalibration point that we wanted to see right now. Because for masculine energy right now, this is you coming into a place of deeper stability, putting a lot of focus on your stability and finding that focus of stability in laying out these short-term paths and these short-term goals for yourself at this moment. Either, again, working in collaboration with the feminine energy right now to help clear up any of these hurdles or anxieties that they're experiencing as it relates to the path going forward right now, or doing this work for yourself at this moment because you are experiencing a moment where you are feeling effectively blocked from being able to connect in connection with this energy because of some of these issues. While for feminine energy right now, what we're really identifying is, again, a lot of your focus right now is either working in collaboration with a stable masculine energy that's helping you see that path moving forward at this time, or building this path for yourself at this moment, working to manifest a masculine energy that is able to do same at this moment, and using that as your orientation point as to whether the masculine energy around you at this time is coming through as stable or just moving about around their own interests and their own desires at this point. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we love to see this card and it's upright. We have here our Six of Cups energy. So this is what is really lovely about this, because again, for both masculine and feminine energy right now, the focus is on the healed karmic connections. For masculine energy right now, you are working right now to build this level of stability around you right now with a focus on the path ahead. Again, either working right now in collaboration with those healed karmic energies around you to set these plans ahead moving forward, either for yourself at this moment with the support of these karmic energies supporting you, even as you're feeling some blockages from the feminine at this time. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now, this is what you're doing in union right now to help the energy around you feel like they are in a healed, karmic, supportive environment. You are creating that stable center, and you are helping to orient all energies on what that path ahead is going to look like. And that creativity of the point of orientation, that far-seeing approach, is what is healing some of the karmic connections at this moment, even around the feminine energy that you are in union with that is potentially feeling some of these blocks and hurdles. While for the feminine energy right now, this is a moment that, again, you yourself are putting a lot of concentration on what is a healed karmic connection versus anything that is unhealed at this time. And you are recognizing that the healed karmic energy around you right now, as it relates to the masculine, is a masculine energy that is creating a supportive environment for you at this point, creating this sense of stability even as you're going through some interpersonal hurdles at this time. And they're also creating a long-term path forward that you can see working with you right now to help clear this blockage that feminine is feeling right now internally, by showing the fact that they are supportive and helping to see that path ahead for the feminine right now. While for the feminine energy that's not in union right now, this is a moment that you, again, as we've said, you are using this as a point of clarification on what energy is coming forward towards you right now as healthy, healed, karmic energy, as opposed to energy that is moving specifically only towards an interest in their own immediate gratification and desires at this moment. Utilizing as your barometer and masculine energy that shows this capability and degree of creating a stable, supportive environment. And furthermore, being able to show some capacity and degree of what that long-term future looks like, what their intentions are, what they're trying to create at this moment. That is giving you the clarification that that is the positive energy if you are trying to manifest it at this moment. Continuing to get clarification right now. Look at these two cards in combination, my friends. Look at these two cards in combination. This is that point of judgment that is currently being experienced right now for both masculine and feminine energy. We see here an immediate point of disruption, an immediate disruption to some kind of immediate plans at this time. But for masculine and feminine energy right now, what we're really identifying is the point of clarity coming in trying to see past the immediate disruption point, the immediate point of discouragement as it relates to some plans and circumstances not necessarily either going the way you would ideally desire or hope for at this time, or not having the clarity on what these look like, using today to help orient and clear that blockage, specifically by laying those plans in place today. May I please have one card to clarify? There it is again. There it is again. We've got the devil energy coming at the forefront here. So this is triggering work, is what we're really seeing here. This is triggering work because something about this right now is pushing up against unhealed karmic connections, bad modalities of thoughts, unhealthy coping mechanisms. Because again, this is a point of distress. This is a point of anxiety that's immediately being felt. There is work being done tangibly on all sides of the energy right now to try to see over some kind of disruption hurdle. And that is extremely triggering because while we see both all energies right now are trying to overcome some of this challenge, the work that needs to be done right now to do so is very internally triggering. For feminine, this is a lot of that potential dealing with the difference between the head and the heart space that you're currently experiencing right now that's creating some of that conflict point. For masculine right now, this is that differentiation between trying to move from a place of creating a supportive, stable center versus wanting to kind of regress to some of your points of more like worldly easement and just enjoyment at this time. For both masculine and feminine energy right now, you're both experiencing these difficult circumstances. But for feminine, this is an internal struggle with the head and the heart space. For masculine, this is trying to be supportive, but kind of wanting to move off and just fall into a place of distraction and easement so that you don't necessarily need to experience it. Final cards for today's spread is between our Six of Cups in combination with our devil energy. So what we're really identifying here is, again, this is going to feel like difficult for both masculine and feminine energy, regardless of whether you're in union or not right now. For both masculine and feminine energy right now, the focus is on healthy, healed karmic connections. But at the same time, feeling extremely triggered at this moment. Some of the more triggering aspects of the connections coming to the forefront right now, working through some of these trigger points. Again, for those that are in union right now, having to work to create a supportive environment right now as some of these triggers come to the forefront today. While for the other energy that's not in union right now, this is potentially working on either healing energies that you feel are entering some of these unhealed traits or patterns. While for others, you are using this as a point of orientation towards the energy that is coming towards you. And this is specifically for the feminine right now. For feminine, this is a point of identification that you are utilizing to try to determine if the energy around you right now is healed, healthy, positively moving karmic energy, or if it's getting you trapped in bad patterns, bad modalities of thoughts, situations or circumstances from the past that you're trying to move away from. For masculine, this is potentially feeling like more of an internal struggle right now between your own choice to potentially want to move into spaces and places that are easier for you, even as you're trying to create a stable environment for energy around yourself at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Wands. Communication is key right now for masculine and feminine energy. Masculine and feminine energy right now, what we're really seeing is the solution to these circumstances is lying in productive, passionate communication. Now, this is going to feel a bit different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For feminine energy right now, everything that we've been saying is still falling exactly into place. Feminine energy right now is doing a lot of work to try to orient. Again, this is some of that head and heart space conflict right now around the energy that they feel is supportive, building healthy karmic relationships at the time, versus any that they feel are getting them trapped in unhealthy coping mechanisms or bad modalities of thought, towards an orientation and focus of the masculine energy, seeing what they're communicating, how they're communicating, what direction they're moving into right now, utilizing that as a point of understanding and clarification on whether the energy is coming through like this or like that right now. This is creating also for the feminine energy right now that is feeling some of this internal conflict. This is working right now with supportive energies as you navigate some of this experience. While for masculine energy right now, this is you feeling a more of an internal struggle, because what you're currently experiencing is for masculine energy right now, we see this desire. We see a lot of your own immediate needs, your own immediate sense of play, your own immediate sense of gratification, butting up against some of your own needs to create some stability for yourself at this moment. So this internal struggling point for masculine right now may be feeling more internalized at this time as it decides on what direction you move into right now as it relates to where you put your energy, where you put your communication, where you put your passion at this time. Moving through some of this internal struggle point right now, even as you're experiencing some of this internally. So a bit of a challenge point for both masculine and feminine energy right now, even around the healthy karmic connections, because even with the healthy karmic connections right now, there are some triggers that are being currently hit that need to be worked through. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is 5 of Cups in its reversal. There is a bit, this is coming through a lot for the feminine energy right now. There are some feelings of loss. There are some feelings of regret. There are some feelings of sadness. There's some feelings from the past. Potentially, we saw this yesterday coming to the forefront that need to be worked through. A lot of this is coming back into a state of optimism. A lot of this is requiring for both masculine and feminine energy right now not to focus on the negative, not to focus on what is done or what has occurred, but really keeping the orientation on what can be redeemed, what can be fixed, what can be solved right now. This is going to feel like a bit of a struggle point today, because we see here for feminine, it's specifically because you are feeling emotionally and logically torn in 2 different directions right now as it relates to your own internal center. While for masculine, this is a moment that you feel yourself potentially returning to unhealthy habits or unhealthy coping mechanisms, feeling some of that urge today, even as you're trying to build deeper stability for yourself at this moment. For both energies, being able to maintain that optimism and not fall back into bad patterns of looking at the past from a degree of negativity is going to be very key to having success going forward from this point. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it with me. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option of a recording sent to you afterwards. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Also, please keep in mind that booking a reading on my website is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and then you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure that you do both if you would like to have a reading with me. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a personal reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your DMs and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing this reading, and we will do this again tomorrow.